for joining us. I'm Rick Cabrera.
And I'm Estela Casas. Good afternoon. Another attempt to get rid of red light cameras in Texas.
A Republican state representative from Bedford has filed a bill to do exactly that. ABC-7's Darren Hunt is live with the story you'll see only on ABC-7. Darren?
Rick and Estela, State Rep Jonathan Stickland from the DFW area has filed a bill that would eliminate red light cams in the entire state. Stickland says in the bill that the Constitution tells us we have a right to face our accuser in court. But how can you do that if your accuser is a machine? Now, red light cameras have always been a controversial issue. El Paso has 18 intersections total where there are red light cameras keeping an eye on drivers. Most of them have been around in the Sun City for more than 8 years. The first ones here were installed back in late 2006. Critics say government is invading privacy and going too far by monitoring movements and raking in cash for cities. Supporters say the cameras help uphold the law, and they're working by reducing accidents and deaths and generating money for cities. Now, according to the Texas Comptroller, more than $16 million was generated in fiscal year 2014 in Texas off $75 red light camera violations. That is up from more than $15 million in 2013, but down from more than $16.5 million in 2012. According to the city of El Paso, in fiscal year 2014, cameras here generated more than $1 million in collections. This fiscal year, nearly $400,000 has been collected over the past 5 months. We asked El Pasoans what they think of red light cameras.
A lot of people thinks about it twice instead of running a red light.
So it keeps people honest.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you'd like to see them stick around.
Exactly. I would like to see him stick around.
All it does is deter them to speed up and being more of causing an accident.
Yeah. So you think they're actually more of a danger happening, I guess, maybe, huh?
Yeah, because as soon as people see it turn yellow now, instead of like going to stop, they'll actually punch it and go because they don't want to get their picture taken.
Now, coming up at 6, we'll take a look at which side of town has the most red light cameras. Plus, I'll tell you what members of El Paso State Delegation think of this bill calling for red light cameras to be eliminated statewide. Rick and Estelle.
Darren, we'll see you at 6. Thank you. El Paso police are not identifying the man who allegedly hit and killed 2 brothers with his car over the weekend. Police say the 2 brothers, 25-year-old Jesse Gutierrez and 22-year-old Adrian Ramirez, were arguing in the middle of Loop 375 just north of Spur 601. Investigators say the car the brothers were riding in had just hit a guardrail. Gutierrez and Ramirez were killed when a driver heading north on Loop 375 hit them. Investigators say alcohol was a factor in all parties involved in the crash. These are pictures that the family of the brothers share with us. This is a picture of Adrian Ramirez with 2 daughters he left behind. Ramirez was taken to a hospital where he later died. And we have this photo of Gutierrez on the left, who also leaves behind a daughter. He died at the scene.
He spent more than a decade on the run in Mexico after allegedly killing a chaparral woman. Today, prosecutors officially charged Eduardo Estrada Garcia with murder. Authorities in Mexico extradited the suspected killer to New Mexico last week. He had been in custody in Mexico for nearly a year. Our New Mexico mobile newsroom was in the courtroom today. Estrada Garcia is charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors say he killed Emily Howard Ianni in 2006 and dumped her body in the desert. Today, we also learned a judge raised Estrada Garcia's bond from $500,000 to $1 million.
Our New Mexico mobile newsroom also got the statement of facts filed for the murder of a Doña Ana County woman. As ABC-7 first reported last week, prosecutors have charged 23-year-old Corey Franklin with murder, tampering with evidence, and kidnapping for the murder of 24-year-old Graciela Hernandez. We stopped by the home on the 1400 block of Eclipse Road where the alleged killing happened. You can see there is still some crime scene tape there. According to court documents, Franklin got into a fight with the woman outside this mobile home. She was allegedly armed with a kitchen knife when Franklin allegedly beat her unconscious. He told deputies he dragged her inside, placed her on top of their bed, and then went to buy beer. Investigators say that when Franklin realized the woman was dead, he tried to file a burglary report before coming clean. Deputies allegedly found the woman's body in a pool of blood inside the mobile home.
During our Juarez 2.0 special report last week, we told you how many Juarezans feel safer in their city following years of bloodshed and drug cartel violence. The mayor of Juarez says new laws impose stricter penalties for kidnapping, extortion, drug trafficking, and murder. He also told us police are relying more on undercover intelligence and better technology to fight crime. Well, today police in Juarez reported 37 homicides for the month of January. That's up slightly from the number of murders reported in January of 2013 and 2014. 3 of the victims were women, but police say those killings are related to drug trafficking and prostitution. To Storm Talk Weather now, hundreds of flights across the U.S. were canceled today because of the massive winter storm slamming the Midwest and parts of the Northeast. American Airlines and U.S. Airways alone canceled more than 1,800 flights today, mainly in Chicago, Boston, and New York City. Dallas-based Southwest Airlines canceled more than 300 flights today. Doctor, you've been tracking this storm. That looks pretty nasty out there.
Yeah, you know, Chicago picked up, depending on where you are in the city, but generally right around 19 inches. Pretty common reports across parts of town. And the brunt of the storm has passed, although if you look at our Doppler radar, you can see some of that white out in Iowa. And that's gradually heading towards the southeast out there. And then if you take a look at the East Coast, Boston, as you get up to Halifax, Quebec, that's where they're seeing some pretty good snows continuing right now. And around our area, we're just looking at mainly clear skies. We have some rain showers pretty much down towards the south of us. That's where they're going to stay. And let's take a look at some of the numbers out at the airport. This past weekend, nearly 6/10 of an inch of rain. Hey, we talked about anywhere from a ½ an inch to an inch of rain across town. And since January 1st, you can see 0.85. So we're 0.43, almost a ½ an inch above the average for this time of year. But we'll talk about our forecast warming up. It's all coming up.
All right, Doppler, thank you. Some members of Sunland Park city government are trying to oust the city manager. ABC-7's Josie Ortegon is live with the details from our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom. Josie?
Rick, this is news to Vernon Wilson, who says he had no idea about the possible termination until he saw it on tomorrow's agenda. Now, Wilson is a fairly new employee here. Council voted to hire him in December of 2013. Just a few months after he started, council met to terminate him. No decision was made at the time, but Mayor Javier Perea told ABC-7 it might come up again in the future. The item is on the agenda for tomorrow's meeting, but it's unclear who initiated the process. Wilson says he and council have different opinions on governance, but has no idea why they would consider terminating him. Councilor Carrillo acknowledges the fact that they've had issues in the past.
I do see that we were a bit disconnected as the way we worked together. It seemed like we did a lot of running around. The council would give directives and the things would get done in different ways, or they wouldn't get done.
We are much better off than we were a year ago or 2 years ago, but we still have some improvement that needs to be done.
Wilson is under a 3-year contract, and Councilor Carrillo tells me it's renewable every year. Wilson, however, says he does not recall that ever being a part of his contract. Live in Sunland Park with our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom, Josie Ortegon, ABC-7.
Let's on top of things, Josie, thank you. Who is this year's El Paso Inc. El Pasoan of the Year? We'll tell you later in this newscast.
And today, congressional